Hi, my name is Bert Leroux and I'm talking to you from sunny South Africa. I have been challenged more than once, and I'm certain you too, as to why it is that when we meet new friends, new people, new business colleagues, new clients, that it's often that there's certain ones of them that you have an immediate rapport with, and others it's difficult to talk to them, to associate with them, just to get through to them. And one like myself would wonder and say, what's the reason for the difference? Why the struggle? And over time, I have learned at first to rather not make friends that I don't understand, that can't understand me, that I struggle to communicate with. But then you have family, your colleagues that you have to understand because you have to be part of the team. You have to be part of the group. So how could you overcome that difference? The only way I see that is through understanding that we are uniquely born, individually uniquely, and that we therefore cannot be the same in everything we do. It would be wonderful if we could just communicate with others and be on par and with immediate understanding. But that would make the world a very boring place to live in. We have to be different to grow and develop, because that's how we learn from one another. So what did I do? How did I change? And why am I passionate about the concept of difference, concept of whole brain thinking, and how we can get to understand each other instantaneously? Because can you imagine if when somebody walks into your sales office, or if somebody walks into your office, you can immediately judge and understand what kind of language do they speak. Because if I understand the language, communication will be simple. In the 21st century we're living now, I believe that there's two key elements, not just expected from leaders, but from each and every one of us. The importance of relationships and the importance of communication. And both of those boils down to us understanding each other, understanding the differences. Why do I do what I do the way I do it? And why do you or they do what they do the way they do it? In the understanding lies the answer. I do the whole brain thinking, and that is what I believe in is the simplest way for me to understand people. Another example that I can share with you quickly is that I often speak to people and say to companies from an HR perspective, it's so interesting that we fire people for exactly the same reason we employed them. And then they say to me, but what are you talking about? What are you saying? I say exactly that. We often employ people like us, but we actually need them to do things that we don't enjoy doing. So if I employ somebody like me, that person is also going to not enjoy what I hate. My personal situation. I am not a paper person. I'm not an admin person. So I need in my office and in my practice a strong person that can take control of my administration. So in understanding the difference, I therefore went out and looked for a person that's good at that. Excellent in that. My office thrived because I had somebody who looked after me, administratively wise, and I can do what I love most, being innovative, strategic thinker, creative thinker. So how does it matter to you in your business? It matters in every aspect of our business. We must be able to understand our differences and be able to judge what the person and who the person is and what is their thinking preference that come to my office. Whether I'm at college, whether I'm school, as I say, it's at home, everywhere we move, understanding the difference and therefore understand the need to be able to communicate in the language of the person that I'm approaching, that I'm talking to. That applies to our teams, our executive teams, our boards that constitute and we put together. If we understand that, we can entrust individuals with key elements in our business, key activities, key processes, because we know they're passionate about that. If I've got an accountant that's passionate about what he does, I can trust that he will always do the best possible work for me. But if I entrust the HR manager with financial tasks, I must know it doesn't come natural to the HR manager. And I must understand that I'm probably going to have to micromanage that individual to make certain I get what I need. So if I know the person and press the right button, I will get to that communication. And that communication is so important because the left brain person, for example, if I do a proposal to a left brain person, I must understand they need a thick what of papers because they need facts and figures for them to make a decision. And I must give it before the meeting so that they can peruse that, study it, and research it so that they can make a decision based on facts and figures. If I do the same to the right brain person, I must understand their way of thinking is totally different. They are emotive, feeling people. They will make a call and make a decision on the spur of the moment. You can share with them what you believe. They'll make a call and make a decision. So if you give them that kind of document that you were giving to the left brain person, they're not going to read it, not at all. Forget about it. They won't do it. What do you need to do for them? How can you in your proposal to a company meet both needs? You must ensure that your proposal address both of their needs. In other words, for the right brain person, in there we must make certain that our executive summary is concise, to the point, a page and a half, that's it. Because the right brain person is going to read that and make his decision on that. It's not going to read all of that. He will entrust the decision in terms of what does the facts and figures say to the left brain guys in the company, the technical guys, the IT guys, the accountants. Allow them to do that. So throughout our thinking and throughout whatever we do in our business, we must understand exactly that so that we can go out there and employ the right person in the right position. So often in companies, I get to clients and they will say to me, I can't understand it. I took my best salesman and I made him the sales manager. He knows exactly how to lead the team because he just has to share with them what he did, how he did it. The fact of the matter, my friend, the left brain person, that salesperson, cannot become your sales manager. It's a different thinking preference. So you end up not having lost your best salesman, but you would have promoted that salesman in terms of Peter's principle to the level of his incompetence. He is not a manager. He is not a leader. He's a salesman. He's a rep. Appreciate him for that. And throughout the organization, the same happens. We take our best technical people and we promote them to the level of incompetence. Because they're not managers. They don't want to manage. In corporate organizations where I was involved, we created specialist bands in organization because we need to grow our specialists. We need to acknowledge their expertise and promote them in organization. But we must protect them and ourselves from promoting these people into managerial positions. We're making the biggest mistake possible. But these principles, as I say, the principle of relationships that immediate report, because I speak the language of the person I'm addressing, that relationship is then easy to build, and the understanding, the effective communication. Whether it's oral or written, doesn't matter. We know that most of communication happens in terms of body language, how I express myself, tone, the second highest, and the lowest in actual fact, the actual spoken word. The body language represents also very much how my preference is. If I talk like this, open-handed, wide arms, I'm talking open with feeling. If I talk towards you with a finger pointing, those kind of things, it's directive, instructive, left brain kind of approach. So how would I have to train my salespeople? I must teach them so they can understand immediately what is walking in there. The guy with a grey suit with a tie is most probably, good chance, left brain. The guy with a floral shirt and the shorts, different, is the right brain. And they're both coming into your shop, interested in buying a Mercedes Benz. The guy with a floral shirt, a convertible, in the other side, and in the other case, the other person, total different need. Because to the left brain, buying the Mercedes Benz might just be a status symbol, different to what needs and the feelings and what the right brain will get. So maybe if you're a car dealer, car salesman, make certain you address the feelings of the individual. Understand what they're going to ask. If they walk into a Mercedes-Benz dealership, don't try and sell them a Buick or a BMW. They have researched and know why they're walking here in your shop, your shop to buy a Mercedes-Benz. You just have to guide them to the right model and suit them in terms of the right color, or whatever the case may be. And what I can't understand, often in these dealerships, they take you into a dark little room at the back. Conclude this deal. And I'm saying, why don't you just put them behind the steering wheel and you get into the co-driver's seat and conclude the deal there? Because the person is here to have the feeling and get the feeling of buying that exact car. So the moment he sees it and he says, yes, I want that, he wants to own it. So put him behind the steering wheel and let him own it while he's filling in the forms and putting in the contracts. Don't take him to the dark room. The understanding of how people feel about deals and all kind of businesses, all related business. I find that that's a shortcoming. We've got set ways of doing it because that's what's prescribed by the franchisors, whatever the case may be. You can still be different by understanding the person that walks into your door. We need that person. That's why we invested. It's to sell to that person, to make that person a friend of our business for life. Speak their language, and you would do that. And it's as simple as understanding the principles of whole brain thinking. What am I passionate about? I say again, why do I do what I do the way I do it? Because that's my preference. I understand the principles, and I teach that also to teams and to individuals. Understand the fact that you need to be whole brain thinking so that I can understand the other person. So I can understand the team dynamics, that we have a whole brain thinking. We address all aspects of business, of decision making, of strategic thinking. Get the people in there, get your team in there. And if we struggle, apply principles such as into the whole brain thinking, visionary thinking, get people in space, get your team into space, not behind the desk, behind the boardroom tables, and being grounded there in their functions and activities that they do every day. Make them uncomfortable, move them into space, and make them think different. And that also happens when I taken that different role in order to understand and speak the language of the person I'm addressing. I must say again, it could be written word as well. Understand what the other people want, how they be communicated to, what do they need to make a decision on. Critical. And in actual fact, at the end of the day, it's extremely easy. It's not rocket science. Just to understand, we are born unique. Undoubtedly, I'm an international awarded coach, thought leading mentor, international speaker, an author, an avid radio broadcaster, love podcasting, and 40-year plus business veteran. In my dealings with my clients, I bring that package because all those elements is important to make you understand that decision making and problem solving, on the one hand, is not that difficult. And the other side is also not that easy. We need to have perspectives to understand what we see is not necessarily what you get. I close off by just sharing with you a paragraph here from Alvin Toffler, a futurist, that say, the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read or write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. We need to grow with the time. And now's the right time. Let's focus on the relationship and let's focus on communication, and we'll be extremely successful. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening.